So what does a 2D versus a 3D hairline mean? So essentially it's how you look at your hairline when you're looking in the mirror, and that's the 2D view. And how does someone look at you when they're not using a mirror? In other words, they're just standing in front of you looking at you. The mirror also be very similar to what a photograph would do, which is a flattened image of your hairline. Are they different? What's so important about discussing a 2D or 3D hairline? Here's what's interesting. The boil it down, it's a slope of your scalp. Because like when I teach a student how to draw a hairline, I tell them don't practice drawing on on a flat surface, because you're never going to be able to understand how it really looks in a curved area. Just like when I'm teaching them how to do recipient site creation, I tell them work on a curved space, because if you don't work on a curved space, you will never get this down. And I will tell you, a hairline is harder than it looks when you're looking at a textbook, which is a 2D image of a three-dimensional representation, and you actually put that pencil on a patient's head or individual's head. The reason for this is that the slope of the hair of the head will actually be one of the components in terms of making your opinion of the hairline different. So let me explain. If this scalp here slopes farther back, okay, then the hairline will look skewed in a mirror versus looking at it on a frontal view. If there's a bulge, because we all have different bulges on our scalp, if there's even a slight bulge of one side, it distorts the hairline when you look at it in a mirror. It's sort of like a refraction of a stick through water. So when I draw a hairline, I draw the shape and the hairline looking at the patient, because it's very hard to do in a mirror. And once I'm pretty happy with it, I then sort of squint my eyes and I take away the three-dimensionality as best I can to see if there's any gross asymmetries there. I make those corrections, and within about 2 minutes of starting the hairline design, I immediately go to the mirror. I actually tell the patient, don't look at it because it could look lopsided, and I'm not looking for the patient to look at it in the mirror, because when I'm holding the mirror, I'm holding it way up high and it's going to look skewed from the patient's perspective, and there's no reason for the patient to look at it. I'm still not happy with the hairline. I'm just using that as a guide. So I'll go and use that mirror tool to guide me, because what it does is it does two things. One, it tells me how a hairline will look in the mirror, because it's accounting for all these refractions that occur in a two-dimensional plane. It also allows me very quick feedback to simplify the hairline design and show me any gross asymmetries almost instantly, because what my eye is disturbed by is all the way that light refracts on a curved space. And once I flatten on a mirror, it tells me, oh my God, this is too far back, or that's too far back. Now, whenever I do a hairline, I always cross-check it from the side view. I cross-check it from looking down. Is one temporal farther back than the other, have the head tilted down? I always go from far away, close back, and then I walk around the head. But the mirror is something I use very early in my design process, because that two-dimensional view gives me immediate feedback if something is off, and it also tells me what is happening with the scalp slope to define how I can make the adjustment. So as you probably would think about it, I need both the frontal view, 3D, and the mirror view, or photographic view, 2D, to be within about 98% of each other. So if my mirror view looks like this, and my frontal view looks like this, and believe it or not, it happens all the time, that's a problem, because whenever they take a photograph, they say, Dr. Lam, you're totally crazy. Or when they get in the morning, they shave and they look in the mirror, they go, wow, why does this doctor make such a lopsided hairline for me? You need to marry both the 2D and 3D images. So when I look at it, I will cross-check that mirror view, and I will tolerate a micro asymmetry, because you have to get both of them. So if one is here and one is here, I want both of them to be slightly off. Now, of course, ideally, they're both exactly level, but I can't have one way off from the other. And this is why the mirror is such a helpful tool. So this is a great, I've written about this in I've written 9 textbooks on hair transplant. And this is one of the things I mentioned to everyone, is that this is such a critical element toward the design process. If you want to understand how I do hairline step by step, First of all, listen to my video on non-negotiable hairlines, but I basically draw the hairline in first. I spend, about 2 minutes making sure I'm more or less happy with the right shape and design. I cross-check it with the mirror. I'll take my finger and I'll put my finger right here and go, this is the problem, I take the mirror away. My staff, I'm using an eyebrow pencil to draw it. I'm given a Q-tip with alcohol in it. I'll walk in front of the patient and I'll say, oh yeah, that's the problem, I can see it. I erase it, I redraw it, I look, and then once I'm pretty happy with it, I go back and check it with the mirror. Usually the mirror I have to do 4 to 5 times before I'm happy. Sometimes it takes me 10 to 20 times. Sometimes it's 2 to 3 times. But I'm constantly cross-checking mirror frontal view, mirror frontal view, downturn check. Make sure the downturn check is right. And then I go back, check side views, because the side view, I talked about this in another video, I'm going to do probably a more depth video. The side view can't tilt down, otherwise it's transgender for a male. I need it to go up or flat. Most of them are all flat. I mean, this is a very conservative hairline, I'll go tilt up, but mostly they go flat. I cross-check the down view, the side views, and then my final cross-check is I have the patient with a standard view. I'll walk all the way around the patient side to side. I'll go farther, closer, side to side, and I'll walk it and walk the hairline to see if there's anything else I'm missing on it. And about 98% of the time, I'm pretty happy. At that point, I'm pretty close to the final design. Only then, I will then hand the mirror to the patient. The mistake is to hold the mirror in front of the patient, because when you're holding it skewed. You're going to create an off-kilter hairline just by holding it off. You need to give the patient the mirror, let them hold it and look at it, and then I explain these elements to them. So I'm hoping as a prospective patient of mine that you understand these elements as how I design a hairline and why it's so important. And I really fuss and spend that time to get that hairline right for you, so that it looks natural, it ages well for you, it matches your donor capacity, your facial shape, your gender, your ethnicity, all those components, and I match how it looks in a mirror versus how it looks from a frontal view.